Hello, and welcome to Remembering Together, the LMJ's podcast. I'm your host, Matt Harold. Each month, we explore the many ways Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia touch our lives, from personal stories of families affected by this disease to the ongoing efforts to find a cure. Join us as we raise awareness, share support, and learn together about the impact of Alzheimer's on nearly 7 million people worldwide. Let's remember together and work toward a future where no one faces this disease alone. Welcome to Remembering Together, an LMJ's podcast. I have made it past one hand here, and we are on to episode number 6. So I, far from an expert here, I decided to get dressed up today as this is now becoming me adulting here. As you know, or as some people don't know, my name is Matt Harold. I am the Vice President of LMJ's Lost Souls Alzheimer's Fund, as well as an advocate for Alzheimer's research, the Alzheimer's Association. And the good news here, I love to talk about myself. So that's the hardest part of the podcast here is that I will do a lot less talking and let our wonderful guests talk to us today. So on the podcast today, I have someone who has more than 7 years of experience in the assisted living and home healthcare space. My guest today is Andrea Hernandez, who is the field coordinator with Assisting Hands Schaumburg and Park Ridge. Andrea, thank you for being here today.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. You are, I know, a newbie to the podcast world, but we're going to get this done. Correct. And this is going to be the best 6 podcast we've ever had of episode 6. I promise you that. So
that is the
first,
goal.
Yes, let's get going here with, tell us a little bit about you, yourself, and get into a little bit, learn about Assisting Hands and what you guys do in this space. So tell us about you.
Well, what can I say about myself? My gosh, my life is pretty simple, honestly. I just turned 26, not like 2 weeks ago. So
you don't have to drop your age this early in, but that's wow. Appreciate it. There we go.
It was just,
there we go.
It just happened recently. So, turned a fully adult last year, 25 could officially rent a car.
You're here.
Yes. I pretty much work, like I mentioned earlier. I do a lot of roller skating. I love to stay active. I love working out. So anything with health and fitness, I am really into that. So that's pretty much all I do is work and work out.
I love it. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Carpentersville with both my parents, and 2 brothers, only girl in the family, so I was a little spoiled. But I grew up there, still currently living there.
Nice.
In the Carpentersville area. And yeah.
Awesome. So you said, since you said it, I'm going to say, so 26, you got 7 years of experience. So
Correct.
You started literally when you were a baby, basically, in the assisted living home care space. So let's talk a little bit about Assisting Hands, what you do at Assisting Hands, what Assisting Hands does. And Well,
I actually started in nursing homes. That's how I initially started in the healthcare world. Right when I turned 18, that's when I applied. Wow. One of my friends, he told me, hey, you should come and apply and work with us. I think you'll be a great fit. But at the time, I was still 17. So I was like, oh, shoot, I got to wait. I think it was 3 months that I had to wait. So I waited. And then once I turned 18, I applied and started in a nursing home at Sunrise.
Schaumburg, right? Is that it or no?
In Barrington.
Okay.
Sunrise in Barrington. And then after that, I worked in a couple other facilities during probably 2 years. Stayed in each facility that I worked at. And when you work in a facility, you gain a lot of experience because there's just many different clients, different personalities when you're there. So you learn very quickly when you're in a nursing home. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fast pace and having to really kind of get up in the morning, or if I'm working in the overnights or the evening shifts, get everybody ready for the night. And it's a little bit more fast paced than what I do now, which is one-on-one care. But working in a nursing home, like I said, really gave me a lot of experience to be able to go in home care and help in the office, and have a little bit more knowledge about clients' needs and what they're really looking for as far as the caregivers that we're sending out there as well.
Right. And when did you make the transition from the nursing home to more of the one-on-one?
So after an experience that I had in a nursing home that was not the greatest, I won't name names here, but not a great facility, where it really broke my heart seeing some of the way the clients were treated, just the environment in general. So when I was working there, one of my other friends referred me to a home care agency. And I was a little bit like, oh, what is this? Because you're going to somebody's home. So it's a little bit different than going to a nursing home.
A little bit? That's
well,
a lot. That's a lot of it different. No,
a lot different.
Yeah.
Yes, I would. Yes,
No,
a lot
totally
different, because you have to really shift your personality to what you're walking into, because you're walking into somebody's home. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking when I first started. I was like 22, so I was still a little shy. I still wasn't like too comfortable, like really stepping in and being like, hey, this is what we're going to do today. I was kind of like, you tell me what you want to do, rather than like me kind of
got you. They were guiding and you.
Exactly.
I got you.
Rather than me guiding them, when that's what sometimes they would need. So after, I would say like 2 years to 3 years, that I moved into home care after I was in a facility after a couple years. And ever since then, I've been in home care, and I think it's honestly the best thing, not just for caregivers, but it's also the best thing for the clients more than anything. Yeah.
So Assisting Hands, obviously, you guys only do home health, correct? It's in
we do
home
care, yes, but we also have clients that are in facilities. So if a family member or a client needs additional assistance in the homes and facilities, we can go out and help them for a couple hours. And
gotcha. So it's one-on-one. It's one-on-one, and it can be at home or at a facility, correct? Oh, okay, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Which is, like I said, the best thing for the clients, because they get that one-on-one interaction. They really get to be taken care of, rather than like when you're rushing and trying to like get everything done for the day so that you can move on to the other client that you may have.
Right. So with Assisting Hands, is it both people? What type of clients is it that you guys service? Is it more than just memory, majority memory, or what?
We have variety of clients, from various different clients with different needs, from companionship, who just need somebody to talk to them. Maybe they like to go out and for outings, so they need somebody to drive them. Some of them can't drive for themselves, so that's what the caregivers are there for, to go and run some errands for them, maybe take them get their hair done, or they want to do something with the caregivers as well. So we have companionship cases. Then we have other clients that are more hospice, bedbound clients that would need like full personal hygiene assistance, dementia, Alzheimer's. So it really varies depending on the client and what they're needing, but we service all types of clients. And
even though this is the LMJ's podcast, we like to make sure that we focus on Alzheimer's and dementia, but of course, it's amazing that there is a wide span of what you guys can offer based on that. Like you said, companionship, even, which people may not think. Somebody just needs someone to be there with them because potentially lost their partner or whatever the case may be there. So what exactly, what is it that you do with Assisting Hands as a field coordinator? Try and let the audience understand.
So I do mostly hiring. I do the hiring and recruiting in the office. Additionally, with that, I also help train the caregivers. So we go out. The good thing about our agency specifically, we're very hands-on. My teammates and I, we love to go out into the field and actually interact with the clients. We go out into the field and actually work with the clients, which a lot of agencies that I've worked with, they don't really do that. So I think the benefit with Assisting Hands is that we're very hands-on with the clients and the caregivers. So that's another thing that I do is help out if they need additional training, if they need guidance, anything like that, then I will go ahead and step in and go and either introduce the caregiver or go and train them with a certain client if they need that support. But my main job is the hiring and recruiting, which is why it's very important for us to be able to find the perfect caregiver for the perfect client, because like I said, every client and every home and environment is very different. So the perfect caregiver can kind of shift and go to any client, but the goal and our goal is to always have that caregiver that is able to bond well with the client so that they can stay with the client for a long time. That's always the goal for us. And that's my main job, is to find those good caregivers that we can send out to the families so that they can build a bond with them and stay
Right.
for a long time.
Obviously, we're big at LMJs, talking about community support and community. We have our community campaigns when it comes to, we understand what caregivers do. So being on that side when you're hiring, I know there's probably not a complete list, but what type of things, what makes, in that hiring process, that interview process, what makes somebody, stand out as somebody who'd be a good fit, a good caregiver, for that role?
Somebody that's flexible, because in home care, clients have different hours and needs, but we usually try to stay within a range of time, but we always have different shifts with different needs, different days. Like, it's not like a full set schedule that you get, for example, like in an office 9 to 5. Clients have like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or they have Saturday and Sunday. So very different shifts. So you have to be able to be flexible to kind of be able to go to different shifts depending on what that client or that specific person's going to need.
What does that look like? So when you talk about 2-hour time, and on a typical situation for what Assisting Hands does, is that what's the time frame on it with one particular client typically?
It's usually a 4, 8, or a 12-hour shift.
Okay.
Yeah. So you would, depending on what the caregiver is looking for and in terms of hours and stuff like that, that would be more on my end on what I'm looking for and stuff like that. But if they're looking for full-time, then they would need to be able to have that flexible schedule so we can add shifts to their schedule and stuff like that. So that's one thing, is to be able to be flexible, not just in your schedule, but be flexible in the clients that you're able to work with. Like I said, we have very different clients that need different needs. So you have to be flexible in order to work with clients that are companionship and be able to work with clients that are dementia. You need to, have a lot of patience with these clients and be able to know how to redirect clients. And the patience is the biggest thing. I think a lot of people, I always tell, this is not the job, this is not for everybody. You really need to want to do this and love this type of job, because one, I had a caregiver today come in and she was telling me that she doesn't get paid enough doing this. And, unfortunately, that's the sad truth, but you're making a difference in the life of people. And I think that's worth a lot more than the money that you're receiving.
There's a lot of jobs that you're not paid what you're truly worth.
Right.
And that's a tough part of life. But you really hit the word, that P word, patience, because, and I think that's the hardest thing. You guys get to train your people on it and talk about it as somebody who went through the experience of having a family member go through this. that's unfortunately on the job training, we would call it,
Right.
when it wasn't obviously a job, it's your family member, but you don't know until you're in it that how patient you really need to be with somebody. And no matter how patient you are, especially when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia related diseases, you're never going to be able to fully understand what that person is going through.
Exactly.
Because they don't really know what they're going through with that. So totally get that. With what you guys do, I know we've talked a little bit before we started the podcast. What is that differentiating factor? Obviously with Assisting Hands, number one, and then also in general with what it is for, home health care or skilled, one-on-one versus that nursing home setup, in your opinion, from what you do?
Well, like you do get that one-on-one interaction, which I think it's the best thing that, like I said, the client needs more than anything, especially if it's a dementia, Alzheimer's client, because they need that routine and they need to have familiar faces, which is one of the biggest things that we try to do is try to keep a caregiver with the client for as long as possible, and for them to really build a bond with each other. And I've worked with clients, and recently I had a client that I worked with for 1 year, and he passed away recently. And so I always think to this experience that I recently had with him, because you never really know how attached you can get to these clients and how much they really like warm your heart. And oh my goodness, I'm getting emotional over this, but like, they really touch your heart. They really,
it's a bond. I mean, it
really is.
No matter what industry you're in, obviously you guys are in a way deeper thing, but even in my line of work, and we have relationships considered transactionally when you're, a client of our insurance agency, but you build a relationship. They come in the office, they call you, and then we, of course, have clients who pass away, and it hits you, and it's not even in the same way. You guys are in way more hands-on experience than what we have from a transactional standpoint. A lot. So with that person who warms your heart, and then they're not going to call again. You guys are getting it on that level that. And it's why you do what you do,
exactly.
And getting emotional. I've got a pretty good success rate as our audience and people listen. This happens, so you're not alone. But the reason why is because you care, and that's, I think, more than anything, to the question I asked. And it's not to say that not everyone cares. You care differently, and when your people. We use a line a lot in our business. We treat them like family. I'm sure that's kind of that feeling. It's you take care of the person, like you would your family member. And that's the service, I don't know if that's Assisting Hands' exact model, but I'm going to say that that's what you guys want people to be treated like you would if they were your family member. And that's key to that. And that's, I think, the hardest part of the job, is because a lot of the people you're dealing with, you don't know how much time. Time's precious in general. We all know that. But when you see where someone's progressing to, and what that little bit of light you might get from something that really warms your heart, and to know that those things happen, they come and go so quickly that it might not be for a real long period of time, which is really, really tough there. Obviously, what you guys do is it's customized to the person. So when you talk about that, what are some examples of, especially if you want to focus a little bit on, people wonder when someone's not as able-bodied and movable or able to move around as much, what is it that you guys try and do for that person? Obviously, comfort's big, but some other ideas of things that you guys do in that one-on-one setting?
Well, we usually help with things like light housekeeping, which, it helps the client just to keep their area tidy, but light housekeeping, meal preparations, and things like that. But mostly, when it's that time is mostly like bathing, making sure that, they're comfortable, that they're clean, making sure that they're fed. A lot of the times, they start to eat less. So, making sure that they're mashing up the food or finding different ways on keeping them hydrated, keeping them fed. But other things would be like mostly companionship. I think that's the biggest thing that that's what they really need at that time is just, talking to them, really, making it, like you said earlier, as normal as possible, their life as normal as possible as it can be as they are transitioning in their different stages of their life. And depending on who it is, if it's a dementia client, I know some of them, it's a very slow process for some, and then it's a very fast process for some. It really depends, as well as for clients that are at the end of life. It's a slow process, or it can even be a faster process. So the companionship, I think, really does help, and that's why I think home care in general is when I found out about home care, I was like, this is the best thing ever because it's a win-win for both the caregivers and the clients. So yeah.
I think it's like too, and you brought up the tooth, like kind of, I always looked at it from my mom's standpoint, like when is it when you need help? And it was like those two higher, or the bottom of the hierarchy of needs, like safety and health, or and food, or whatever you want to say, or hydrate or whatever. Like if those two things can't be done, the person can't keep themselves safe, and they can't feed themselves or make sure that they're being fed. Like that's where if those two things aren't met, like everything else above it as to what's important doesn't matter, because those are the root root of life is you got to make sure the person is safe. It's like, and it's crazy. Having young kids, it's like the progress of life. When someone is elderly, it's like the same thing. You go out of this world the same way as you came into it. You need help, and I need my kids to be safe, and I need them to be fed. And it's the same way, unfortunately, with people, who can't do it themselves.
Right.
You kind of touched on this, and you went right into it. So, why do you do what you do?
Because I care about people. I love helping people, but doing this for a while, I've seen many things. I've heard many things. I've still currently learning a lot about the disease in general, but just as well as how to continue caring for these for people. So I think the reason why I do them is just to help. I think that's what I'm here for, and I think that's what we are here for in general as humans, is to serve others and to help others. So I'm here literally to help people in this line of work. And like I said, I love fitness and I love working out, and so that's another thing that I love helping people is, motivating them to get in the gym so that they can stay healthy for as long as possible.
I feel like this is a personal attack. Now you brought up working out, the gym twice. This is just not comfortable for me here. So I'm not the person to give that advice. So hey, that is great that you're here, because I will stay out of that.
Well, you don't just need to go to the gym. You can walk.
It's true.
Just staying active in general is my.
Kidding. I'm trying, all right? So that's why it's a personal attack, because I'm trying. But when it comes to health and fitness, obviously that's a very hot button topic in life itself. Rather than working out, I've just decided to eat less, and that has helped me out tremendously there. But
that works.
Obviously strong correlation with how the mind can work with the rest of your body. So something we bring up with people is, how does fitness, from your experience, play a part in long term? Obviously, it's good for many things, the heart, the body as a whole. But why? What is it that you guys know, and what do you learn about how the mind can also be a part of that when it comes to treating your body well?
Well, I just think in general, like working out builds one disciplined, but it really helps out with bones. You know, the bone density helps you stay stronger. I think there's a research that it says that it helps you live longer. You know.
I enjoy the personal attack, so I'll do my best to take all of the advice you gave today. But when we talk about health, and health is about, many people look at it about the body. What is it that, from what you know, what you've seen, and I know you're not a doctor, but you've seen enough in your experience, how does the mind work when it comes to treating your body the correct way?
Well, one, like I mentioned, it builds discipline, and I think that helps a lot in many, as you know, as a young adult and in general, but it really helps build skills that you don't sometimes think that you need, but you do need them. So as far as working out and staying fit staying on top of your meals and all of that, you're just nourishing your body in a different way than, just food. And you're working out your bones, your muscles, which help you stay and live longer if you're working out and you're using your body. And one of the biggest things that I see when you're getting older is you lose mobility, you lose your ability to I was with a client today who is having a hard time walking. So keeping exercise and keeping physical therapy in the line will keep him walking for a longer time, rather than if you just let him sit for hours on end or leaving him in bed. It will help him, stay mobile for as long as possible. And that's always the goal, to stay mobile and, care for yourself for as long as possible. And that's why I think fitness and health is important in general, so that you can stay active for as long as possible and take care of yourself for as long as possible. I think there's like a joke, it's not even a joke, but where they say, you want to be able to wipe your bottom for a long time. And I think
sound advice. I like it. That's good. Yeah.
So that's why I think fitness and working out is important. It's just so that you can stay, like I said, active for a long time.
Well, I think too, like it's that part of, you're talking as a young adult. It's it almost, a couple of things came to mind. It's like when you get a new car, and if you don't take care of it well, the long-term effects of the car can be impacted. If you don't take care of yourself early on in your life, or as a young adult, we all feel like, oh, everything's fine. Then in my case, you hit 35 and like the body breaks in half. But like it broke in half because of the bad decisions I made in my 20s to not take great care of my body. But there's still time for me, I hope.
There's
but
always
I think
time.
there's always time there.
Well,
but no, it's huge.
Yeah.
It is. And I think when you say there's always time, it's especially when people, as they get older or later into life, I hear a lot, like they have to keep their mind moving and their body moving. You were talking about just small movements there, as to your body and your mind talk to each other, but keep the blood flowing, they say, and all that. But like so many times when, from my experience talking to somebody who their family member, friend of the family develops, whether it's Alzheimer's or another form of dementia, it's that, they became stagnant, and it could be from, they retired or whatever it is that they decided to do, and they started to do less and less, and then the body wasn't, you weren't recalibrating, so to speak, and getting moving, and that causes that to happen. What else? I always, my go-to question here, so no pressure. When I say it, what's one thing that you would tell somebody who has a family member who's dealing with Alzheimer's or dementia? I'm not going to let you get out easy on the word patients. Sorry, there. But one piece of advice. I'm going to nicely say it, whether you feel this way or not. You're an expert in the assisted living space and working with people that way. So what's one piece of advice? So many people don't know what to do, and they're confused. I'm upset. My family member, you get frustrated with them, all that. What's one piece of advice you would give? I know there's so many different answers here, but what from your experience?
Man, that's a good question.
I'll give you mine after, so you don't feel like you're alone here. All right? But I pubbed this up long enough to give you the opportunity. So now the floor is yours.
Oh gosh. I would say to try to keep the client, what would you say? What would you say? A different word. The person you are working with. Yes. No, it's hard. I would just try to keep their life as normal as possible, as like they used to live it before. So try not to have too many changes, and when there is changes that are implemented, even if you have to repeat it, this is why patience is very key. Even if you have to repeat it 20 times, I think we have to kind of put ourselves in their shoes and understand that sometimes they may not click the first time or the fifth time, but
potentially ever,
yeah. But if you just are explaining everything to them as you go through, but really trying to keep their life as normal as possible and try to figure out a routine that works for them specifically, which can be hard. As people age, I know they get resistant with help. We're currently dealing that with my grandpa right now. He doesn't want help from us, but he knows he needs it, and that's a hard thing to do, especially with your loved one. It's easier for me to, walk into a home and be like, hey, we're going to do this, and kind of like play a little like, this is what they're telling me to do, I have to do it, rather than, a family that and you actually like have a connection with a little bit more. Right. It's a little bit more difficult. So I would just say try to, keep it as normal as possible for the client to just kind of be in the same like headspace, if that makes sense.
No, and your answer, I'm not taking it, but it's very similar to on the other side of it. Obviously not doing what you do and being that, being that family member. I would say and I told you, time is precious. Mm-hmm. So as much as you want to get frustrated, that time, time is, and this is all in hindsight. I say it because I went through this, with my mom, and the things I did versus what I wish I would have done are very different. And it's hard because I live this way in my life, and I tell people you get one mom and one dad in most scenarios of life. And what I mean by that is you can have step parents, you can have a different situation, but like once one of them is gone, you're 50% of the way to what no child wants to be, which is without parents. And I always say, so that time is precious, and enjoy the time you have, because even if you get the 5 seconds of that person coming back to what was or close to what they were, enjoy it. Don't forget it, because that 5 seconds may not happen ever again. It may not happen for 5 months, a month, whatever it is, but enjoy that time that you have. And whether it's the worst time and the person can't remember anything, or it's that 5 seconds where they're back to somewhat normalcy, like those are the memories you're going to have, because at some point, as we know with Alzheimer's and dementia, you're not getting out of here. There's no cure right now. This is why we're doing what we do, but we're doing what we do because there isn't a cure. And so it's most likely going to take that loved one's life. And so enjoy that time, because it is so precious. And people say that all the time, like, they hear, kids grow up so fast, and it's like, again, on that flip side, your time with your parent, your loved one, your grandparent, whatever it is that person is to you, it's a finite amount of time. So
it's a good reminder as well. Because, with busy lives that we all live, we often forget what truly is important. So it's a good reminder.
I used to hate to, like people, how do you go see your mom as often as you do when she was in, memory care facility? I'm like, because you have, like, that's she got me on this earth. I mean, So do I want to go there? Is it a fun experience? Absolutely not. It's a terrible experience, but there's a lot of things that, would they have done the same thing for you? Like, do good, do good by the people who've done so good for you there. So I'm going to leave it up to you here as we kind of wrap up a little bit here. Anything you want to add, anything I missed, the floor is yours, whether it's about personal, assisting hands, anything that you want to add before I say a few more words about you and about LMJs. Floor is yours.
No, nothing too much. Just everybody take care of yourselves. And that's it on my end.
I like it. Good. Well, first, Andrea, I want to thank you for being here. Again, this is Andrea Hernandez, Field Coordinator with Assisting Hands Schaumburg and Park Ridge.
I guess I can add, if you are looking for a job, we are always hiring, so let us know.
I was going to let you plug yourself, so you beat me to it, so that's perfect. Awesome. People want to reach out to you. Where can they reach out to you?
They can either contact us at our main line, our office line. I can 847-857-6166, or go to our website at Assisting Hands Schaumburg Park Ridge, and they can call us there, apply there as well, and we'll reach out to them.
Awesome. Get that main phone number one more time. So they're, old people like me, you need to slow it down a little bit.
That's 847-857-6166.
Awesome. Well, and again, Andrea, thank you for being here. Again, you can find out more information about Andrea. She gave you the phone number twice, so I can't remember it still, but that's why you listen to the podcast. If you want to find out more information about LMJs, you can visit us online. You can visit us on Facebook. You can visit us on Instagram. This is a monthly podcast. I'd love to connect with people here in the studio. You can do that. You or someone you know who's got a connection to Alzheimer's, caring for Alzheimer's support like Andrea, or a business who provides resources for memory care. Do not hesitate to reach out. So thank you for joining me here today. Again, episode 6 of Remembering Together, the LMJ's Lost Souls podcast. We hope the information that was shared today was both beneficial and impactful. Cannot thank Andrea enough for what she does in her community to help people in the memory care space. And lastly, as always, love your family, love your friends, and remember to cherish the time you have and spend with the ones you love, because at the end of the day, all we have is memories. Thanks for joining today.